SK Vibemaker.
And today, I'm delighted to have in the virtual room, Loski. What's happening, sir?
I'm good, bro. What are you saying?
I mean, let's break down the title of the album as well, man, because a lot of people are talking about it. It's quite a striking album title. Let them know why you decided to call your album this, man.
It's music. That's like my life. That's how I'm living. So, and everyone, I think everyone, like, no matter what type of person you are, everyone likes some sort of music. You know what I mean? It's been in the world for like, since the world almost started, basically. So music's a big role in life. Trial, everyone's probably going to think it's like because of my pending case or whatever, but it's more like a trial in life. Everyone's on trial in life, whether it's a job interview or you're at school, you're just at work. Everything's a trial. Anything you do you know what I mean? In life, you meet someone new, it's the relationship's on trial. Do you know what I mean? And then trauma is like, everyone has been through trauma, whether you realize it or not. Like further on in life, if you realize it, or you just clock on way early. But I think, like, I don't know where I'm speaking from it in the album is like, at first it starts with a lot of drill songs, and that's like the beginning of my story. Do you know what I mean? Of my environment. And I'll say like the trauma probably started from then, but I didn't see that till now. So yeah, it's just music, trial, and trauma all together. They're like three big words in my life.
And I mean, if you look at the album cover, it's you with an incision on your chest and you're holding your heart in your hand. I mean, you know, break down that for people that are wondering why you chose that for your debut album cover.
Like, it represents, you know, like the heart on your sleeve, but it's also like me giving it to the fans. So I'm basically offering my heart to them, you know.
Was that always the first choice as the album cover?
Yeah, there was a few like options on how we wanted to do it, but I think it was more like just showing the vulnerability towards my side more than anything. It was like we wanted to show them how, like, you want it to touch them, do you know what I mean?
And there are definitely elements on this album that show your real vulnerability, definitely your heart on your sleeve. And you've come from a grimy place. You've come from the UK drill sound. Is there ever a problem or a challenge or a thought where you're like, you know what, I'm not sure about this because I want to remain the hardest, seen the hardest, and if I do this other side, they're going to think that, what's happened to Loski? Yeah,
of course. Like, you always get them problems. It's like, it's hard to balance because you don't want to, like, you always want to keep your core fan base, you know what I mean? But then you want to reach out to others who don't know you. Yeah, that's just like, that'll work different for every artist will find a different way to manage that, do you know what I mean? Because no one's in their position. Like, what works for me might not work for another artist, vice versa. I don't know, man. You just got to find a way to maneuver, really.
There was a big thought of that, though, the fear of challenge, the fear of alienating your core audience. There was a big thought about that.
Of course, but I'm always gonna have that problem because you're not always gonna make what, like, everyone has a different ear, do you know what I mean? So anytime you release, like, artists can get that problem. Even if you know a song's sick and it's cold, someone's not gonna like it, do you know what I mean? So you can't please everyone, but you just gotta know, like, be smart enough to reach into that bag and that bag and that bag and you know what I mean? Connect with the fans differently.
So when we're talking about Avengers, you got the line on there where you say, they sound like me, so I guess I'm the sensei. How do you feel about a lot of the other MCs that are possibly photocopying your style, man? How do you deal with that?
No, like, it's sick, innit? Like, everyone does it. Everyone can act like, oh, they create this and that. Trust me, like, I listen to bare rappers and I'm like, hey, that's cold. Do you know what I mean? And like, you don't literally steal a man's flow, but like, you think how to do it in your way, do you know what I mean? So everyone like gets like inspiration of someone, do you know what I mean?
How did it feel to have Popcaan on your song saying, yo, Loski, wagwan broski? How did that feel?
No, you come cold, man. That was proper cold. And it's like, no, I never knew Loski and broski rhyme so much until then. I swear, like,
this seems like I can think of one of your first collaborations with a reggae dancehall artist, and it feels like you got the taste for it. Is this something that you're going to be venturing into further, like, you know, reaching out to maybe some of the other artists and collaborating with them?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I don't mind working with anyone that, like, I think's dope. Do you know what I mean? Like, I won't work with no one I don't think is hard. But no, defo.
What some of the reggae dancehall artists you got on your radar, man?
Intense, Skilly Ben. I like the main 2 yard artists I listen to right now. Shansia.
We'll talk,
Yeah, I like how she looks. She's nice. Yeah, but no, like, obviously Vibes Cartel. That's the
OG.
world boss. Yeah, man.
A big song of yours from, like, I think it was the beginning of last year was Allegedly, and you got the line on there, I should have been at Murky Fest on Wireless, instead I'm in a cell doing Love Island. Do you know what I'm saying? You spent a bit of time behind bars, unfortunately, you bounced back. How much of a challenge was it for you to bounce back after that jail time and get focused on the music again and put together this piece of work right here?
Obviously, it wasn't my first time jail, so I just, this was just the first time I've gone jail and I was coming out to something. Every time I've gone jail, I've not had nothing to come out to. Do you know what I mean? Even though when I come out of film, I knew what I wanted to do. It wasn't in order, so I didn't know how music was going to take off or if it was going to take off at all. Do you know what I mean? This time was like, yo, you're just literally reminiscing on your whole life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize how much music was my life until it gets taken away from you. And it's like, yeah, you just know you got to come back out super hungry, super focused, because you're like, I'm a year behind. And I always say it, but it's like, I'm not a year behind everyone. It's like, I'm a year behind myself from where I should be. Do you know what I mean? So I'm literally just catching up to where I think I should be, man.
Do you feel like this time that you spent behind bars was different to the others, of where you've got a lot more to lose this time and maybe a different mentality, you're older and all that?
100%. Yeah, defo being older helps a lot. But I don't know, man. Not even that you need things like that to happen to make you more focused, because I've always took my music serious. Like, since I've started it, I've took it serious. Do you know what I mean? So I can't say, oh, I needed the jail time to, like some people need to just click in. It wasn't that, man. But you can't change nothing, and I ain't gonna be stressing like, oh, could have done this, or it should be like this. Like, I literally just, I'm out. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just taking my chance to kill it.
Let's talk about On Me featuring MizOrMac. I feel like a joint project between you lot would go down very well. Like, the energy and the synergy between you lot is a big thing, man. Is that anything that you lot have spoken about? Is there any possibility of that?
Definitely. We want to do like a group project between like me, him, Blanco, other like artists within like Kenneton. So yeah, man, defo. It's just about like because we're all solo artists as well. It's like, remember, I can be working on a project right now, and then one of them two might want to do a group project, but we're just all at different spaces in our career. Do you know what I mean? So it's just literally about finding a time when all of us have a space to just give something to the fans, because we definitely have to. Do you know what I mean? There has never been like no Harlem Spartan project ever. So
maybe the double S thing is something different. The Spartan Supreme thing sounds a bit different.
Yeah, no, it's sick. Therefore, but yeah, man, we therefore have to pattern up, because we're all doing like different little projects, and then we're just putting each other on the songs. Do you know what I mean? Then just sitting in studio for a week and just coming out with a bunch of bangers.
Have you been considering your female fan base much when it comes to your music and making new music? Because let's not get it twisted. As a young man, Loski definitely has a significant female fan base.
Yeah, but I see it as they like me in it, like what I'm releasing. So like, I'll carry on doing so. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just change completely for girls. They obviously like the music, so I just keep trying to. But I don't know. I don't really try and see it as like girls, or like some. Obviously, if you're making a girl song and you're trying to make this one for the girls, but like, I wouldn't just like go studio and think, oh, I want to make a girl song. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna be twisting up and bending all over the place just to make a girl tune.
Yeah. Literally, like, everything like I make is natural. No one like tells me make this sound or the most is like I'll make something and people might say, oh, what I could do to improve something, you know what I mean? But that's about it.
Let's talk about Niger Man featuring Davido. I spoke to him recently in the virtual room, and he was speaking about how happy he was that you came over to Nigeria and you shot the video and everything, man. How was that experience working with Davido and going over to Nigeria, man?
He's a legend, man. Like, he's a proper good guy, genuine guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I got there, he was just treating me like family. So, yeah, man, it's sick. But it's so jarring because, like, if you come to England, what you can do out there, it's a complete different world. Do you know what I mean? Like, complete different world. England's so controlled. It's like a robot land compared to there. You know what I mean? So it's mad. Like, I couldn't show him half the amount of love that he showed me out there because you can't control over here how you can over there. Do you know what I mean? Like, over there, he's got so much power. It's like, oh my God, this is mental. Like, you couldn't do any of that in England. There's just so much going on. And it's so tight. Everything's just crabbed in. Like, the energy's just, yeah, man, it's mad. Being out there, like, the energy out there is just so sick and natural. Like, you feel like you're at home. Do you know what I mean? So,
many might underestimate the challenge of you putting together an album like your debut album that you've put out, man. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like translating that the music Trial and Trauma is the three parts of the album. You've got the beginning part, which is drill. You got the middle part, which is like the celebration, the partying, the light mood, and you got the end part, which is the reflection. Was that very purposeful for you to have the album in those three kind of chapters?
100%. That's why I like to have the interludes as well, though, to try and bring you into like the next almost paragraph, if you can say.
Was this a big challenge in making a difference from making the projects that you have before, then making an album? Was it like, you know, a tough slog in the studio, stepping up the levels?
Yeah, and no. Not making the music. Making the music was like the easiest bit. You know what I mean? That's always going to be the easiest. Because it's always like me that makes the music, do you know what I mean? Or like, I know what I want to make today or tomorrow, or do you know what I mean? I think the struggle is more the balance of not giving too much of this and a bit more of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, of just the balance of, because like I got so many different fans that like love me for different things. It's like literally just feeding them. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to overdo this sort of sound, or you don't want to sound the same. Yeah, I think that maybe that's the only problem, just the balance of who's listening almost. But I feel like the last part of the album was like something that I don't do usually. Do you know what I mean? Like the last 3 songs. But that was for an older fan base to make them understand. Because they're like, I use
dynamics,
like big samples. Yeah, like the samples that I use, like obviously the Bashy Black Words, the Mike Skinner, the Streets Blinded, and the
Tupac sample.
Michael Jackson. Yeah, that's what it is. I know it as the Tupac sample, the Unborn Child, but everyone's like the Michael Jackson, like Ringo. But yeah, it was like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the like older generation are gonna hear those samples and be like, yo, it will bring back memories for them. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, sometimes when you just hear things, it makes you like it because you're reminiscing on a certain moment in life that you was once at.
Straight up.
So what I try to do is make them understand our thing. Do you know what I mean? Like my generation. So if me doing something that was going on in their time makes them think back to that, it's almost like they're going to take it in more than they would normally. Do you know what I mean?
So 2 a.m. I was listening to the album and I weren't looking at the track listing. And when this song came on, I actually thought that it was a feature. I didn't even realize this was you with the melodics, with the different style. Is this something that you're going to be exploring much in the future? And was this easy to execute, this side of Loski?
Yeah, like easy to execute, therefore. But yeah. It's like, I don't know, there's a time when you release stuff like that, there's a time not to. It's just like, just depends on the vibe, really, man. The vibe, really. But no, man, that's the main thing. Like, I always want to stay versatile and not to one sound, like stuck to one thing. You know what I mean? Like, I always want to reach out to different stuff.
Our conversation back in 2018, you said when you release your debut album, it needs to go platinum. Now, from hearing your debut album since it's been released, yeah, it could have gone up to 3 times platinum. How much pressure did you put on yourself by saying it needs to go platinum? And how are you feeling that about the album sales and the streams as an artist who's released his debut album?
Yeah, that's one side of like things that this is why like I feel like it's a proper album because I'm putting in so much work to make sure it can hit the potential it needs to. Do you know what I mean? Like my other projects have not been relaxed because I've always tried to put 100% into my work, but everything around this, like, do you know what I mean? Apart from making the music, like that's what making the music was just the easy part. Everything else around it is like so hard. The long hours and you know what I mean, little bits of sleep you're getting, but hopefully it just pays off, man.
There's so many quotables that we could take from the album, man. The song Black, where you sampled Bashy's Black Boys. The England captain should be Sterling. The England football team should be Sterling. That's a big line that sticks out in the chorus. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people will enjoy that line and celebrate that line. Some people will be rubbed up wrong by that line. What did you want people to take from that line?
Like, they can take it how they want, really. But I feel like it's the truth, man. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people won't be happy with it. Some people will. But it's the truth. He should be, man. He should be. But they'll never let that happen, man.
Why should he, in Loski's opinion?
Sterling's cold, man. He's cold. And he deserves it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he deserves it. Like, sometimes I'm seeing, like, just the wrong people wearing the badge, but that's how it goes, man.
One thing I think a lot of people are going to take from the debut album is they're going to be very happy that you've definitely fed the drill core. As you grow and you put your debut album out, a lot of artists get signed to major labels and maybe forget their core. How much of an obligation are you feeling to continue that drill sound?
Always, you know what I mean? It's something that you can't forget because it's how I came out and it's what a lot of my people love me for, do you know what I mean? So I can't turn around and be like, oh, I'm not doing this sound, I'm not doing that sound. Like, whatever's working, I'm going to give to them, do you know what I mean?
Flavor featuring Stormzy, a big song off the debut album, one of the lead singles. You know, Stormzy doesn't collaborate with everyone. Talk to me about putting this song together and getting Stormzy on it.
Yeah, like, we got a lot of mutual friends, so it was just easy working with him, do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't strangers in the room or anything like that. So, yeah, the works behind it was like both talented, both rock with each other. You know what I mean? It just made sense, man. So, and he already had the record and was saying that he wanted me on it. So he just, when I see him after that, we spoke about it, sent it over, then we went in a session together, just wrapped it up. So
boom, bam.
Yeah, now we got Flavor.
Listen, Loski, man, I just have to say again, congratulations on the debut album. I don't say this to everybody. I listened to the preview of your album a few months ago and I said, yeah, I got the album in my hands and I listened to it again and I was like, yeah, man, this young guy, debut album, he's lived up to the potential and it's not easy. And you've put together an album with concepts, dynamics, scope, and just levels, you know what I'm saying? So congratulations on that, Loski, man.
Thank you. Big up, bro.
SK Vibemaker.